I didn't realize I also had to hit go live on the YouTube to get it to start going over there. So, I guess we're just gonna begin, because, this does not matter. I'm just gonna leave it. So, let's get started. I hate that I can hear my clicking. Oop, that's the wrong one. There we go. So it is Sol in the 23rd degree of Gemini, Luna in 10th degree of Gemini, Sunday, because it's done by 12s, it always trips me up. It is 1:22. Jeez. Is that right? 1:22. Man. So the next full moon is June 29th. So half a month. It's a waning crescent today. Oh, and tomorrow is a new moon. That's fun. Because, it's funny, I use so little moon water that it's... Because, like, I do come from a, Hold on, let me close this real quick. I do come from a, eclectic witchcraft. I never really got into Wicca. The, threefold law is just not my speed. But, I still do like bringing in elements of folk magic. And, this is an idea that I want to develop. Which is the need for, like, exoteric Thelema. Like, the, hold on. Oh, my nose has been runny. I'm trying not to sniff too much on mic. But the sort of quippy way I like to put it is that Crowley should be our Xenu. You know what I mean? Like, this, I think it does fit within the Limit canon to more or less see Crowley as the madman that the gods spoke through, or that Iwas saw as the most useful for the task of establishing the new Aeon. And I am sorry about my audio. I am trying to address it. But, sorry, I got stuck on the phrase, the mad woman upstairs. Like, I don't know why that's on my mind. I feel like it's a phrase that was used in, like, a course. I think about how Marx treats Hegel. No clue. But this is something I've been writing about and trying to develop. Is sort of what do we do with the idea that, the law is for all. And I would argue that, I always say traditional Thelema. I'm just going to start saying Catholic Thelema. Because the OTO is effectively the Thelemic equivalent of the Catholic Church, just from like an institutional standpoint. Like, you could argue, oh well, the EGC is the, yeah, that's technicalities, but like in terms of organization, the central institution that you can either take seriously or ignore is the OTO. Like, that's Thelema's Catholic Church. And I am trying to get the avatar back, because I cleared out my downloads, which, again, unimportant. But, I think it's worthwhile to consider, to, like, just generally reconsider what we think of as religion, or, like, how religion is approached and handled. Because, there's enough Reddit atheists out there that I don't have to spend much time on it. But yeah, there are some things about religion that are antiquated. Oh. All right. And yeah, apparently all of, like, half of my references were kept in my whoop, there we go. In my downloads folder, and I wanted to I wanted to download Race Room, because it's not that I'm sick of NASCAR. I am so off topic. Anyway, like, I think it's worthwhile to consider how religion can look in the 21st century, in the new Aeon. Because, like, when I picture what I would like to see, like, because, I grew up, believe it or not, I grew up in the Deep South, and there is something to going to test. I'm a little quiet. You know what? I'll raise it a little bit, because I don't want the audio to peak too much. I don't know why I mean, audio is something that you can't get around. You can get used to bad visuals, but you can't get used to bad audio. Anyway, but there is something to going to church on Sundays, because, like, I do remember, I don't remember what the sermon was about, but I do remember going to a sermon that was being given by, like, a doctor of theology. It was closer to a lecture than a sermon, but I think there is something to uh, having like a 1 day a week where, like, for me doing this, and I missed last week because I was up for 3 days because that's just how I roll. Um, I'll get to that. There's a reason I have to always mark the stream gambling because it'll come up. It just does. Um, but like what I would like to go to is essentially like an AA meeting, not AA as in the Thelemic organization, but like group therapy, like have the and I'm also going off of Paulo Ferreira's ideas of the teacher student student teacher, um, because I would like to hear someone speak once a week on not just theology, because I think that's one thing that can be improved. Uh, I'm looking to surpass, uh, to put it in Nietzschean terms. But like lectures on anything, like the limbic topics, but also I would love to hear like astrophysics discussed from the limbic perspective. I mean, that's what I'm working on right now with this book. Is like on one hand, it's outlining my philosophical system and the implications that come out of it, but like my philosophy lines up incredibly well with Thelema. There's a reason why I'm a Thelemite. Huh, who knew? Um, but it's also going into exploring that thelemic connection, the book I'm working on, uh, and also talking about I guess gambling in general, because it was just going to be poker, but like I've had this weird shift in my true will, and I say weird shift, but it's true will is a dynamic thing. Like oh, I've been studying anti-Oedipus. Like because I'm doing it on my own. I know it's a challenging text. It's something I'm not familiar with, and I don't have a lecturer I can ask. I started out by, watching lectures, and now I'm on to listening to a close reading where it's going through paragraph by paragraph talking about each one, and like each section, so each chapter is divided into section. Each section is like 2 hours, but I'm learning a lot, and like I want to be able to incorporate these ideas because I feel like I could articulate myself a lot better once I get a hang of what. Oh god, I'm gonna say this so fucking wrong. Deleuze and Guattari, uh, excuse my French, what they have to say about like the body without organs and desiring machines, because I think that could be applied to Thelema in a very interesting way, because, and this gets into my ontology, but you have Nuit, you have the like the way I break it down is I'm basing my ontology on, I guess, empirical epistemology, which is to say the only thing to which we have direct access. That would be the Kantian way to put it. The only thing to which we have direct access is experience itself, that we are experiencing. So we have phenomena, and then we have the subject, and the way I define the subject is just absolutely bare bones. Where it's that which experiences. It's the observer. It's not just like, it's not you. In Thelemic terms, it's Hadith. Like, that's what I love about Thelema. I can just it's so much easier. Like, it's really incredible how the philosophy and theology of Thelema just maps so well in the mind. Because, like, of course, like, I did English philosophy in university, and I wouldn't say I studied Nietzsche in particular. Since I did joint honors, I didn't have to do a dissertation. Which I think that worked for me, because I'm, like, obviously, I can be self-directed in, like, what I'm working on, and this has been a very ambitious project that's required me to not only do a lot of reading, but also just practical lived experience, just gathering data, singular, anecdotal, subjective, but I'm still using that quality as a guiding light, because I don't know where this idea comes from. It's not me, but there's this idea that the intuitions we have need to be factored into our philosophy, because they do tell us something. You intuit that it would be wrong to kick an animal. Like, thinking about it makes you feel bad. And this idea of, like, oh, facts don't care about your feelings. This idea that you should ignore this amount of data is like, are you fucking insane? Like, it's your body's telling you something. Why are you rejecting it? Examine it. And really, it comes down to insecurity. Like, some people think that if they acknowledge the fact they have emotions, everyone has emotions. If they acknowledge the fact they have emotions, it makes them less of a man somehow. And it's like, bro, why do you give a fuck? It's like, if you want to talk about manliness, like, accept that you're a human. I don't know. It's just so silly. Where on earth was I? I picked a weird time to do this. Anyway, when I picture, for, I guess, Protestant Thelema, is just like, we take turns of, like, there's someone who organizes the meeting, someone who, gives, like, a speech, a lecture, whatever the fuck you want to call it, sermon, or just like talking about, like, just sharing whatever. Because like what I want to get to is where people can share what they're doing individually and what they're working on, give each other advice, but you know, I still do want to leave room because I like listening to lectures. Like, I would love to go sit in, I guess it's closer, what I'm describing is closer to a tutorial, but like, if every Sunday is a lecture followed by a tutorial, that's perfect. I love it. It doesn't matter what's on. It doesn't matter. Like, if I can keep up, I'm there. Like and overall my goal for myself is to, you know, just try and gain a contemporary understanding across the board to some extent, you know, as far as I can. Like, I think that's a worthwhile project, and you know, and I think that the sort of meeting that I'm describing would harken back to like the OG pre making friends and influencing people self-help, but it was actually about, you know, having the skills to help yourself do things, like sewing or fixing a tractor. I don't know. This isn't my area of expertise. Which I feel like it's worth saying that there's a distinction between when I'm speaking from a place of expertise versus when I'm giving my lay understanding of something as an example. Like, I feel like sometimes people get caught up on the accuracy of examples, where it's just, no, this is an illustration. It's just illustrating a concept. But I was going to mention the anti-Oedipus, anti-Oedipus in connection with the true will. I feel like there's something there in terms of like using the concept of desiring machines and considering, well, what would be the body without organs in that situation? And I'm barely fucking understanding this shit. Would it be the sort of localized, the actual body where Hadith is localized, or the potentiality created by the theoretical existence of an entity able to have a subjective experience. I'm still working on it, but it's like I have a very loose, you know, I would highly recommend the series of essays that IAO 131 did, and his book Fresh Fever from the Skies is excellent. It's a great read, and it's the sort of thing I'm talking about. It's Thelema, but, you know, easy to access, like very, very accessible. And you know that's again exoteric. The law is for all. Most people just can't do the big ceremonies, and it's like, okay, yeah, maybe you use the church space that you use for the fucking TA Thelema and honest meetings. But I think it's worth questioning how much ceremonial magic needs to be a part of our conception of Thelema, because like I think ceremonial magic is antiquated. It's border aristocrat shit. You know, that's what I like about folk magic is it's, I don't know, it's not imposed from above, it wells up from the creativity of the human experience. But I think what really makes ceremonial magic somewhat, I mean, this is moot, but antiquated in the new Aeon, is the fact that, you know, if you look at the way Crowley defines magic, it's the art and science of causing change to conform to the will. That's pretty broad. And, you know, it's utterly bizarre to me that I've never seen Crowley mention Hegel, which, you know, being really into Nietzsche, I can see, and Schopenhauer, like Nietzsche and Schopenhauer did not like Hegel, but I think Crowley was missing out. I think there's a lot of Hegelian ideas that fit really well within Thelema, like the idea that Hadit and Nuit come together to produce the magical child, and you seeing that as the, you know, I'm being reductive. I would dispute a lot of what I'm about to say, but you know, let's not get distracted with the details. The material and the or I guess the subject and the object. That's it's a dialectic. You know, seeing Hadith as the subject, Nuit as the object, insofar as it's doubtless that this experience is happening, and for that experience to happen, there has to be a subject and an object, and yeah, these aren't related as part of a duality, but as part of a dialectic. Because you know, there's this idea of the presence of the other, because of course, God. Yeah, I'm still working on it. I've gotten to the point of the argument where I'm like, I don't know if I've articulated that to myself yet. But it's very exciting working on this book, because, like, really what it comes down to is articulating it for myself. Because, you know, and I think that it's a worthwhile project, because that's another thing that I'm doing is, you know, intending it to not be prescriptive but demonstrative, sort of showing that a Nietzschean project like this is possible, And you know, I think that sort of self-investigation and discovery is part of the spirit of the new Aeon. But you know, it's this never-ending self-investigation, and the meaning, you know, because it's not just like you don't just obtain perfect knowledge of the HGA. It's called knowledge and conversation. You know, you're in conversation with this higher self, and we can see it as the like I tend to see it in terms of like a game tree, because I'm a poker nerd, and I just think it's a helpful visualizer for just inter uh, decisions that build off of one another, like a, you know, like a flow chart for what you could be doing theoretically. But like I like to compare it to GTO because you know, there's the optimal play at equilibrium, but we're not playing at equilibrium. We're playing in real life against real people, and when the circumstances change, you get an unfavorable turn, for example, you have to reassess. Your strategy changes. Your opponent donks instead of checks, or you bet when you shouldn't have, you bet too big, whatever. Uh, there's still an optimal. There's still, if you are on that node where you've fucked up on the flop, there's still a GTO response. There's still a GTO way to play that node. But it's very, very distinct from equilibrium. You have to take into account all the you know, adjustments you're making, or the deviations you're making. But there is still, you know, an optimal way to go. And, you know, as we go through life, we change, we grow, we do the great work, we follow our true will, and as we change, then our true will changes. And, you know, I really like the idea of seeing true will ontologically. Like, that is like, I want to phrase it in like delusion terms that I'm, forgive me, I'm gonna take a swing at it, but I'm in the early stages of trying to understand anti-Oedipus. But perhaps we can see true will as the, you know, resultant metaphysical individual, because like on an ontological level, it's you know, there's just the subject object dialectic. But it's the oh, hold on. There we go. So seeing true will as what the desiring machines produce ideally? I don't know. I have so much work to do on this. But I'm excited. But like what I've because I've dedicated myself to the great work, but for me it's uh following my true will, right? Like, to me, that's the great work, because we talk about the great work in terms of like unity with God, um, and I don't think that has to be understood in like a mystic, Gnostic sort of way, but as like being in the world, you know, true will, not as desiring but becoming, because a lot of it's a memory game. Because if you can remember who you want to be, it makes it easier to make the right decisions. But I guess that's you know, I want to say point of true will. I think all these things are just like emergent factors. But benefit, maybe benefit's the right word. I've completely lost my train of thought, because again, I'm I guess I'm like a poker monk, or a like some sort of monk, a gambling monk, something like that, because like for me, the presence and becoming that is the great work, that is following my true will. So I guess the great work being specifically the labor. Whenever I say the great work, I mean the labor associated with the true will. Because like for me, what feels right, what's working, is primarily working on this book, seeing that as my job, essentially. Although I think I need to get beyond the idea of job, because I keep, you know, struggling with calling what I'm doing a job, even though it's like, uh, you know, it has the same place in my life, so it makes this the easiest corollary for communicating, but, like, I just, I might be living, like, a lifestyle that's based off of, assumptions and values that are just distinct from the presiding order, so, I would bring up you know, Marx's idea of the superstructure. So the idea that uh, culture, art, society at large, um, is built upon the economics, where you have the economics as the foundation, and then everything on top of that is the superstructure. And it is not that I'm existing outside of capitalism, uh, but I'm, you know, of course, I'm participating in this. Well, I'm participating in uh, there being, you know, markets and exchange value, but like, well, yeah, I'm inevitably interacting with capitalism, but I guess what made me pause is the fact that, like, well, in terms of the means of production, or in terms of, like, the worker, uh, the proletariat, bourgeoisie, dichotomy, um, like, I would align myself with working class, but I guess well, I'm laboring. I'm not quite working. Uh, maybe maybe I shouldn't mull this over to myself on stream. Maybe that's I'll come back to you with that. But what I'm getting at is that I think trying to think in terms of, like, a job is not helpful anymore. Where it's like, yeah, I'm, you know, part of it is gambling. Like, that's actually kind of tied to my spiritual practice, but it's also, hopefully it'll be the funding, or I'll have I'll go on strike like Crowley did. Um, but I'm just sort of present and engaged, and just trying to understand how I understand things better. Um, but also just more like, a couple years ago, like in 2022, if you asked me if I was a gambler, I'd say no. I don't even play the lottery. In 23, I would have said no. I like poker for the strategy. I put up with the gambling because that's the only way that people who are good at the game can make money. If you ask me now, I say yeah. But I see gambling differently. Where it's about understanding the odds, and not just the odds, but also the odds that you understand the odds, if you know what I mean. But, like, just keeping it small, like, with all the, harms of, like, internet accessible gambling, micro stakes is not one of them. Like, I think it's fantastic. But I don't need to get into my opinions on gambling right now. And I think I might leave it there. Because at this point, I'm just all I have to talk about is that for some reason I've gotten not for some reason. There's ads for horse racing on the book, the sports book I use. And also, there is a local race course that I could get to relatively, like, easier than it would be get to town. And you would think the connection would be just straight, going from gambling to playing poker to playing the horses. But I think it might be a little more complicated, because I also I like NASCAR. I like tonight will be the first time I'll ever be able to watch a race live. Um, if if the VPN will work, but I just like stock cars and uh like with because like I have a sim rig. um cannot tell you why I got it, but initially playing American Truck Simulator, and great crack, love it. Although I've uninstalled it since they announced this road trip DLC, because I'm so fucking excited to play uh to just drive around the Western US. I only have the Western locked. But drive around the Western US in a 1970 Dodge Charger. Fuck yes. Um, but I've uninstalled that because I'm so excited for this DLC. Uh, and I've got Race Room, because I do not have racing money. But I've got the, and it's all hooked up to desktop monitor. Um, on the PS4 I've got NASCAR Heat 5, love it. On the computer I have the race room, which I'd like to use just like whenever I don't want to be swapping back and forth. No stock cars on it though. It's all road courses. I'm not big into road courses. I don't like driving them as much as I do ovals. And I find them a lot harder. I guess it's because on road courses, you tend to mostly wreck yourself, and it's the track cutting. It's the track cutting that drives me crazy, because like when you're qualifying, like you can't. Whatever. I'm so off topic. But I went from like the NASCAR to like because like the more I play and the longer races I do, the more I like the sport itself. And I I get the NASCAR manager for the new phone because it could run it, and for the same reason, on a whim, I got Uma Musume. I'm probably not saying that right. I apologize, but the the Pretty Derby horse girl game, uh, it's fun. It's good. Like it's a lot more of a visual novel than I expected, but yeah, it's very earnest. I find it inspiring. But I think it's going from that. I think that's what made me be like, you know what? I would like to watch the horses. I do think that's fun. But and obviously I lose interest once I stop being able to improve, or like once I get it, I usually get bored. Like with blackjack, I learned basic strategy, and like I'm bored of it now. So like have you hold on, let me see if I can pull up a race card. so you can see what these things look like. But there's... Okay, here we go. Because I'm just trying to find an example. Because, like, okay, this, you can't see it very well. This is just what it looks like. It's, zooming in would give you a less accurate look at it. Because, I'm trying to see I can't find the kind that, like, I keep seeing people, hold on. Because there's this kind of thing that I've watched a video on how to read it. Okay, well, let me, no! Yeah, okay. I found it. Um, oh, dear Lord. Okay. This is blurry as hell. But like this, that, that is just so rich, and like I'm just fascinated by the fact that, like, watching someone explain how to read this, utterly fucking fascinating. Well, I so just wrapping it up, and then just kept fucking rambling for 16, 17 minutes. Well, damn, I didn't introduce the broadcast. That's fine. This has been the Sunday Equinox. It is ideally starts every Sunday at 6 a.m. Irish time, and ideally goes on for an hour, but if I haven't slept for a few days, I'm like, I can't. Like, if I can't make it, I can't make it. And like last Sunday, I could have, but like I remember standing and looking at the computer, just be like, I need to get the fuck to sleep. I'm so tired. And I'd like to make this a space for then I just like fucking just have somewhere to go. Like, just give me somewhere to go on a Sunday. Just like give me a conversation. Give me a give me a sacred space in which to commune. I don't know. But be sure to like and subscribe and follow if you're listening to this as a, you know, part of the pre-recorded podcast thing on the YouTube. Drop by. It's chill. I'm more likely to do a full hour with some company, and I might even go longer. But right now, I have got to look over some race cards, cause I guess that's just what I'm doing today, cause there's an exhibition at the local course. All right. Cheers.